Iraq in 1936. Archaeologists unearthed a tomb in the city and found a mysterious Mesopotamian jar, which is commonly believed to date somewhere between 250 BC to 250 AD. But what could this mysterious jar be?
The Baghdad battery is a small clay jar with an asphalt stopper. It has an iron rod running through the middle and is encased in a copper cylinder. When the jar's filled with some kind of electrolyte like vinegar or grape juice, the jar as a battery produces just over a volt of electricity. This is an amazing discovery. It shows that the ancients had already invented the battery 2,000 years ago.
There are many who are skeptical of the claim that this could really be a 2,000-year-old battery. Yet the evidence is compelling that it could have been used to create an electrical charge.
This is a reproduction of one of the most enigmatic objects that we have from the ancient world. This ceramic vessel was discovered just on the outskirts of Baghdad in the 1930s. When they were investigated, it was discovered that they were two pieces of metal, a piece of copper tube, and in the centre of that, a piece of iron rod. The two metallic elements producing electrical energy. We had no idea that at that early stage the technology was understood. And if in fact these are batteries, which is one of the possible explanations, they would predate Volta and Galvani by about 2,000 years.
But could this object really work as a battery? When you compare the Baghdad battery with early batteries from just 120 years ago, you can see the similarities. They too consisted of a jar containing a negative and positive electrode, which was separated by an electrolytic fluid.
We have some mid-19th century batteries, as were invented by the Frenchman Georges Leclanché in 1867, and they consist of a glass jar. Inside it is a porous pot. Inside, running down the middle of that, is a carbon rod, and that is the negative terminal. Positive pole is this rod of zinc. They performed just like the Baghdad battery, that is to say, they generated a very low voltage current.
So if the Baghdad battery really worked on the same principles as early modern batteries, could it really generate an electrical charge?
We decided to attempt to recreate the Baghdad battery using materials as close as possible to the originals. We're using copper tubing, which is domestic plumbing piping, but which is of similar gauge. The rod in the centre is actually steel, not iron, because iron is quite tricky to get hold of nowadays. But with this and vinegar, we're going to see if we can actually reproduce a voltage from this artifact.
The electrolytic solution of vinegar allows a flow of electrical ions to move between the two terminals, which are attracted by each other's polarity, thus creating a charge. The iron rod acts as the positive terminal and the copper tube acts as the negative terminal. Using a small speaker, you can actually hear the electrical reaction taking place. When a voltmeter is attached, the battery quite clearly registers an electrical charge of approximately 1 volt. There are many varied theories as to what this electrical supply could have been used for, from medicine to religion, yet some question if it was used to generate power at all.
We all like good stories, and the Baghdad battery is one of those great stories. But for me as an archaeologist, I'm afraid it doesn't quite work. I would say it wasn't a battery to create electricity, but was part of a ritual assemblage of objects, although we don't, of course, understand all of the details of the ritual in which it might have been used.
Yet there is one theory which many experts believe is the most likely use of the Baghdad battery.
The Baghdad battery didn't produce much power, perhaps a little over a volt, but that would have been sufficient to allow silver to be plated with gold. What the Baghdad battery shows then is that electroplating is another ancient discovery.
It is thought that the practice of electroplating one metal over the top of another is a modern invention. Yet with the Baghdad battery, perhaps the ancients had also mastered this art. As a test, this coin is being dipped into a gold solution whilst attached to 3 models of the Baghdad battery, which are running an electrical charge through it. The gold in the solution is attracted to the coin, and in only a few minutes, the coin has been completely coated in gold. The Baghdad battery seems to prove a remarkable theory, that people living thousands of years ago were able to generate small amounts of electricity.